So welcome back, everyone. You know what? When I have clients that come on that for years, I can talk forever for them, either before, during, or after the show. My next guest is Sandy Greenlee, and she's the owner of Angels Cremation and Burial. She's also been coming on this show for years. Welcome, and thank you for being on for this long. And I want you to sort of tell everybody a little bit about yourself and also about what you do. But I brought out something today that I didn't get to talk to you because we were talking about some other things, because it's the holidays coming up, and I knew that you like to kind of talk about the holidays differently when it comes to people who are dealing with grieving and things like that. So we're live on Facebook. I do want to say hi to everybody out there with that too as well. And I thought I would just bring this out for you because I keep everything.
I know you do.
And I just want you to kind of first talk a little bit about yourself, and then we'll go into some of these different things that are great ideas for people who are grieving at this time of year.
Well, as she said, I'm Sandy Greenlee. I own Angels Cremation and Burial. It was a gift from God. I've worked my heart and soul out to even make it a success. We cater to people who want to save their money for something besides a funeral or a cremation. We do all the hoopla if that's what people want, but we really are more of the laid back, simple, let's save our money for something else. A lot of families don't have money to save, other families have money to save and they don't want to go on the ground. So our cremation is $685, our traditional funeral is $2,400, and so that's expensive compared to most places. We love families, we love to educate, we love to help families have choices and options, because most mortuaries want to sell you something, and we operate on the assumption that if you ask, we'll get it for you. If you don't ask, we're not going to pressure you, making you feel more stress.
No, you'll never meet a more real person than Sandy, especially when it comes to this situation that people are in, because when you are grieving, sometimes you just are not thinking correctly.
Amen.
Right? And also there's people out there, not that they're trying to, but they do, they have their prices are jacked up, and you don't know what you're doing, and the next thing you know, you're spending thousands and thousands of dollars on something you may not have to do. And one thing I gotta say, first out of the bat, because I know we're going to talk about other things, is a cremation
Is a cremation.
So it doesn't matter where you do this cremation. If you want to get cremated, you want to go and have it spend thousands of dollars, you certainly can. But you can also just call Sandy and you can have it done for what's your cremation start at?
A direct cremation is $685.
And I'm just going to tell you guys something that you don't know. My ex-husband's mother passed recently. And she said, everything's done, and I paid for that, so don't worry about the cremation is paid for. What's the first thing that wasn't paid for? The cremation, okay? And they couldn't find the paperwork, whatever, it doesn't matter. And she was being buried somewhere special, okay, somewhere here, okay?
Very expensive.
Very expensive. So now when she bought it, thought she bought it, and that was in 1994, so it was probably really very affordable, okay?
Mm-hmm.
It was like $5,000. Now, she only knew that, and she's probably rolling over in her grave, because that was something that would kill her, right?
Right.
But you know what? You don't have to, because it doesn't matter. The process is the process is the process.
That's right.
And
There's nothing different about a cremation, whether you pay $5,000 or you pay $500. It's the same thing.
It's the same thing.
You
So,
want to have somebody with dignity and respect. You don't want to be like the guy in Colorado, though.
right. But here's the thing, though, folks. You can call and you can talk to them. They do free consultations, and you can. A lot of people are trying to save money, and if you want to, this is the way to go. And her phone number is 480-962-6435, which is 480-96-ANGEL. You can check her out on her website. It's angelscremationandburial.com. So let's today talk about some of these things that you have talked about here, that people for different ideas that you can help them with. Because you've been through, not only do you work in the area of, shall I say, death, but you have also experienced so much in your life on a personal basis.
Well, that's why I got in the funeral industry. I got tired of the vultures, and I didn't have any money, and they thought I had $1 million, and I was going to pay for their next cruise. And I've literally heard stories like, you're going to use that cheap casket? oh, you're having a homemade casket. Well, what will people think if you don't put roses on the casket? Well, my answer to them was, my stepmother didn't care. She was gonna smell them when she was alive, and there was roses by her bed for the last 3 months of her life. And as far as the casket was concerned, when they did not realize that my husband was best friend was a cabinet maker, my son's casket was oak with inlaid black walnut and cherry wood and his name engraved on the top in a cloud. And when he brought it in, they said, oh, could we get the name of your cabinet maker? And I looked at him and said, oh, it's a homemade casket, you wouldn't be interested, and walked away.
That's pretty funny.
That was my joy of the day of being able to get back at him. And so after my dad died, I quit my job and I decided I was going to make a difference in the funeral industry. I went to work at one mortuary and I was there for about 3 weeks because they wanted me to lie, and all they cared about was how much money I could bring in. It was like, not for me. So then I went to work in another mortuary, and he was very kind. In fact, I still have a relationship with him. In fact, it's kind of funny now. He works for me. And so it's like the circle goes around. But I really believe that a funeral home should not be a business, it should be a service. And so we do our very best to serve families. We send them cards from time to time, hoping that will help them up, cheer them up. And it's been kind of interesting, because lately, I have one lady, and that's all she does, is she writes and sends cards, and I thought, oh, this is such an expense, and the economy's bad. But literally, there have been probably like 10 people in the last 2 months just write or call and say, thank you for the card, it cheered me up today. Thank you for the card, it cheered me up today. Well, people's lives are going on, but mine hasn't gone on yet, and I'm 6 months out, and people just think I need to grow up and move on. Well, we do need to grow up and move on, but you know what? God's in charge of how fast that happens or how slow that happens. And the most important thing is to be happy with yourself and do what you need to do. And then we always send out a Christmas letter at Christmas time. And anybody that would like to have one, I tell you, if you call my mortuary, 480-962-6435, or you send me an email at angelsmortuary@gmail.com, I can guarantee you I will send you the letter, because to me it was the greatest gift somebody gave to me when my second son died. And I'm sad because I don't know who it was who sent it, because I would like to say thank you. But it is very comforting, it's very calming, it is the light of my life. And I've had people come in and say, can I buy 5 copies? Can I buy 3 copies? Can I get another copy? But it starts out, dearest loved one, and then you sign it from your heavenly angel. And that's how it's signed, all done on the computer, so it's not anybody's personal name. But it just kind of helps bring out the joy of really looking at Christmas, because the letter basically says, I'm up here in heaven enjoying the lights and the music, and I'm looking down at you, and I don't want you to be sad. I want you to realize I'm spending Christmas with God and with the angels. And that's the gist of the message. And I think we need to focus on the positives of life, not the negatives of life.
I love that.
And so, some of the things that you can do for the holidays is set a plate on the table, fill it with food, and take that plate to a neighbor or to the homeless shelter, or drive down the street. There's probably somebody standing on the street that's hungry.
Mm-hmm.
Invite somebody that is going to be alone for Christmas. I had to laugh at my daughter. She has 2 little boys they're twins, and they are adopted, and they went to see their real grandma, had they not been adopted, but we're still in close contact. And she was saying how hard it was going to be this year, because she'd lost her husband and she didn't know how she was going to handle it financially. And one of the boys said, well, you just come to my Oma's house, because she will feed anybody for Christmas. And so you just plan to be there for Thanksgiving. Okay, because we're not going to be home for Christmas this year.
But you also have things like grieving games.
Yes, there's a lot of different things you can do. Get out your picture books, look at them, talk about them, smile about them. Play spin the bottle. You have to pull something out, and then tell a story about the memory that you have of your particular loved one. And you can do it. You can focus it just on one loved one. You can focus it on anybody who's already passed. We like to do it as kind of a genealogy game in our house, so that you can talk about anybody you want. And sometimes it's really hard for kids, but they always join in.
Well, something, we're going to go to a break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit further. You know, at this time of the year, there's no doubt, everybody grieves, especially when they have their loved ones. And if it's even something that's happened recent, it makes it even harder. But you know what, you can make it so much better. And I love the fact that you talk about this at this time of the year, because you help people all the time that are grieving immensely, and you help them through it. And just with the cards alone, when you talk about that, and that you don't stop doing it just because it's expensive to do, you know what, you touch people's hearts. And that's what we're gonna do right now too. When we come back, we're gonna talk about, you know, how you can do some other things that you might like to try for this year. You can call her too. They do free consultations at 480-962-6435, which is 96 Angel. Hang tight, we'll be back in just a minute. You like the way I threw that at you?
No, it was funny because I was thinking, driving over here, I said, oh, should I got my vacation list, or my holiday list, and
Yeah.
I forgot about it.
Yeah, I have it here. I don't know if you wanna kinda highlight anything
No.
else that you wanna kinda.
I'll just read through it, whatever God puts in my brain.
Mm-hmm. But I really like also talking about, when you've talked about traditions and things like that are different. The one that you've mentioned before on, you know, decorating the tree, you know, that kind of thing I remember too.
We decorated a tree with cookies for the animals,
That's so cool.
for my son, because he loved the animals. The most important thing I need to tell him is don't let people tell you what to do.
Whatever you choose. But I thought it would be good.
I need to get back out. I lost my dad this year.
Say that.
I said I lost my stepdad this year, I need to get this back out. My best friend, both in January, a week apart. Well, not even a week apart, Bill died on Monday and Sandy died on Thursday.
It's so interesting how it works like that, because my friend's mother just passed, like maybe 2 weeks ago. And she passed at the same exact time her father passed, like 6 years ago.
Before.
And my ex-husband's grandpa died on the same exact day as his wife, 30 years.
That happens frequently. You'd be surprised how many times people tell me that.
That's amazing. Have you, I'm sure you've seen the movie The Notebook? The Notebook was a great movie. It's a great movie. It's an old movie, but it's a great movie, and it's about love. And at the end, and he was healthy basically,
Yeah.
and they died together holding hands.
Oh, how fun.
Yeah, you would really.
That's how my grandma needed to die.
Yeah.
It was so,
She had Alzheimer's, and that was what the story was about,
Yeah.
and how she couldn't remember, you know.
I might have seen that.
I'm sure.
About it.
It's been around for like years. Oh. Welcome back. You know, we're talking about grieving, and having fun grieving in its own way, right? There's ways
Yes.
of doing that.
Well, you can sit around and muddle in the muck, or you can figure out how to get out of the muck. And to me, I have to figure out some way to get out of the muck, because I don't like being in the muck. And if you like being in the muck, that's okay. The most important thing I can tell anybody is do it your way. Don't let anybody tell you what you should do, or what you should think, or how you should do it. This is your path, this is your way of walking. So you do it your own way. And so find something that appeals to you. For example, we have a little tiny Christmas tree that's like 2 feet tall. And my second son who died loved animals. And so we buy animal treats, or we make animal treats that are animal careful. We put it on the tree, and we put it on his grave, and the deer and squirrels and the chipmunks all come and eat all of this tree, and we don't take the tree down until they're all gone. Cemetery's probably not very happy with us, but we don't care. Yeah, we do care, but we just wanted to do something different. Another favorite memory that we have is we adopt a family, and we make sure that they get everything for Christmas that they would not necessarily want, but at least they get something on their list that they want. And we get the names from the school, we get them from a friend, we get them from somebody who tells us about somebody, we get them from the mortuary. Sometimes families come in and we just feel compelled that that needs to be our family. And we take them everything, dinner, we take them everything that they can possibly want. Now maybe they don't like it, they can give it to a neighbor and then it's a double gift.
Mhm.
I don't worry about whether they like it or not. And kids, I've never found a kid that doesn't like a toy. It might not have been the one they wanted, but they're always happy to get something done wrapped under their tree.
Mhm.
And sometimes it's very challenging for parents who's lost a child to do Christmas for their child. I know I still struggle with Easter, and because my kids now have grandkids, we've had to kind of get over the hump of, oh, we can just do nothing for Easter. And so it doesn't matter what holiday it is, find something that means something to you or something that means something to your loved one. Write a letter to them and mail it in the mail to the dead letter file. If you just put their name on it in heaven, I guarantee the postmaster will just throw it away.
Mhm.
But it's something about that psychologicalness of writing the letter to your loved one and signing it and putting it in the envelope and putting a stamp on it and putting it in the mailbox.
Mhm.
I can't tell you what it is, but emotionally, it is my answer. Every year I do that for the loved ones that have died the year before. It just kind of puts a period at the end of the sentence, and it makes my life better. It makes it easier for me.
Mhm. I love that.
And another thing, you can, if it's children, if you've lost a child, you can go take a name off the tree. They're usually at all the malls at some little kid that wants something.
Mhm.
The money that you would have spent on them, spend on them.
Mhm.
On your loved ones, spend on them. Or my husband was famous for buying kids every video that was on sale. And so we have a stack of videos at Christmas time. We'd wrap them and then we would just give them to people. And that always brings us joy and memories because it was what our dad did. It's what my husband, but we call him our dad because of the kids. And so those bring back memories of what we did with our dad. You can, sit at home and do nothing. And if that's what you want to do, then do it. Don't let somebody say, you need to get out, you need to do this. Well, nobody knows what you need except you and God. And God will direct you in the path that you should take. Maybe you could light a candle in his memory. Maybe you could take something of his that somebody wanted when he passed away and you're now willing to let go of it and take it to a dear friend and give it to them. You'll be shocked at how excited or how ecstatic they are. I'll tell you a really funny story. When my stepmother died, my little brother asked for the recipe box. And I said, well, as soon as I go through it, you can have it. And he said, okay, well, I'm embarrassed to tell you this, it's been 24 years later. But I called him the other day and I said, Jack, you're not gonna believe this, I have a really special gift for you this year when I see you. He said, what, sis, is that? And I said, it's Arlene's recipe box. He said, what? I said, don't you remember when she died, you said you wanted the recipe box? And I said, too bad, so sad, it's already at my house, but I'll go through it and I'll get it to you. Well, guess what? When he realized what it really was, because he thought, recipe box, I don't want a recipe box, but he wanted the recipes that were in the box, he got really excited. He's getting it for Christmas in a wrapped up package, 24 years later from my stepmother.
Well, you see, but you know what, that's fine. And it actually is, he'll probably be ready to take the time to make those recipes now, because, he's been working so hard.
It was kind of fun for me because I went through recipes that I forgot she had,
Mhm.
and it was like, oh, we can make peanut butter. Arlene always made peanut butter for Christmas.
I love peanut butter.
And so,
I'm coming
and she had
over.
the best peanut butter recipe in the whole world.
Mhm.
Go to church and say a prayer. Put a name on a prayer roll. I know a lot of different churches have prayer rolls. Put your name on. There's nothing wrong with adding your name. There's not a thing wrong with adding your name to the prayer roll. Watch the amount of booze you drink though, because that could be kind of bad. Don't stop yourself from eating the food you want, and if you don't want some that you always eat, don't worry about it. It's Christmas. You can do what you want. It's Thanksgiving. You don't have to eat all that stuff that you thought you had to make because they loved it. You don't have to make that anymore because maybe nobody else liked it and they're just eating it because they have to eat it. So the thing of it is be creative. Do your thing. do what you want to do.
You know what, I think that is something that exudes from you. You know, you're like, I'm gonna do what I want. You're, at some point in our lives, we get to that point where we're saying, you know what, this is me, I'm happy with me,
Mhm.
doesn't matter what you think of me or what I do,
That's
and
right.
I'm gonna do what I want, because that's what makes me happy.
Well, and my mother started a tradition when I was probably in high school, and she would always buy me a Christmas sweater. And so when my mother passed away, my husband took over, and when my husband passed away, my children took over. And I looked at them and I said, you kids don't need to buy me a Christmas present for a sweater, because I can go buy my own. And that's what I've done for the last 2 years, is I bought my own. That way it's what I want and what I like.
Well, you like it better, you picked
And
it.
so, and my kids were very dear because they were carrying on a tradition that my mother started. But I wanted to do it myself, and so sometimes it's nice to just go buy a gift from your husband, or from one of your children, or from your grandmother, or your aunt, because they would have bought it when you see it, and so buy it, wrap it up, and put it under the tree, Christmas tree. Put their name on it, from an angel in heaven. And so, the thing of it is just let your mind be free. And
I'm
quit
gonna
off the guilt.
I'm gonna say something that I just thought about. I told you my girlfriend, best
Uh-huh.
girlfriend since I'm 2, her mother was like a mother to me, and
Mhm.
I called her Mrs. Rasnow. I didn't say, in those days we didn't call them their first name,
Right.
right? She wore sweaters, you were talking about
Mhm.
sweaters, and her daughter made for me a pillow out of her sweater that she used to wear,
Mhm.
button down, cardigan
Right.
sweater, and it was just put around this pillow and kind of
Right.
however she did it. And that's Mrs. Rasnow. And you know what? She's gonna come to Thanksgiving dinner with us sitting, she's gonna have a chair with that pillow with her sweater on it.
That's right.
It's a
Or you
different
can
thing to
just take your
think
shirt and
about.
put it on the back of the chair, and that's Dad's shirt, or that's Grandpa's shirt, or that's
Mhm.
Grandma's shirt.
Mhm.
And let go of your perfection. It doesn't matter if it's perfect to anybody but you, and you don't have to be perfected.
Where's
Because
my
those
pen? I gotta
people-
write that down,
those-
that's a good one. Let go of your perfection. How many people need to do that?
Well, it's like everybody thinks everything has to be perfect and it has to be the way it's always been. And let me tell you, I'm a great one of saying I'm sick and tired of the new traditions of all the electronics. I really like the old stuff. But let me tell you, letting go and letting God is a really good thing to do. And do what you want to do, and don't worry what other people say or think or do, because you're in charge of you, and it's your grief and it's your path. Doesn't matter whether it's been 1 week or 1 year or 5 years or 25 years. I can tell you, I can still see something and cry over my son, and he died in 1989. I can still think of something and cry about my dad who died in 2000. I will be doing that with my stepdad. Every time I see a junkyard, I'm gonna say, oh my God, I hope those people didn't get the same mess that I got when my stepfather died in 2025. But those are all things that help me to get over it. They help me to be who I am. They help me to find the positive outlook. It helps me to be who I want to be. I want to make the world a better place. I want to be in charge of my life. I tell my kids all the time, I want to drive my own car, and I want you to drive your own car. Whatever that means to you, in your path of grief, you need to do that. Because everybody grieves differently. Time, space, ways, challenges. If you want more ways about grief, I got like a list here of
I think
64
there's about
things.
50, 60.
And so if you want to know what they are, call me. I'll be happy to send you a copy of them. There are things that I've read, things I've learned, things that I've been told, things that I have done, and things that I've just thought might be cool to do someday.
So,
I love you all. Have a happy holiday.
I love it. Her phone number to call is 480-962-6435. That's 480-96-ANGEL. She's an angel. And that number to call again is 480-962-6435. The website is angels with an S, cremationandburial.com.